I just got a call from FOTM Mike Richards. He read a post on the Sony yellow radio board that had him thinking I may have died. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. This episode of Toronto Mic'd is to set the record straight. Reports of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. It's Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. Let's rewind 6 days to Thursday, March 2nd, a simpler time. I woke up, got out of bed, dragged a brush across Morgan's head. I threw the 2 little ones in the bike trailer, dropped them off at their before-school care, recorded a few times for 3 different clients, and prepared for a night of fun. Michelle, my oldest daughter, was home from McGill. Last week was her reading week, and we were having a little party. All was going according to plan until about 4:30 p.m. when I was very suddenly hit with an intense headache. I don't often get headaches, and this one felt different. It was peer pressure behind my eyes and my temples and around the back. I popped a couple of Advils and I lay down for a bit, and then I mustered up the strength to plow through the night. The headache eventually returned, and then I'd take a couple of Advils, and then I'd plow through. I did this all weekend long, but I didn't miss a beat. I co-hosted Hebsy on Sports on Friday. I watched the Babadook with Michelle on Friday night. I did a ton of shoveling on Saturday. I made a kick-ass snowman with the kids. I went for a bike ride and a swim on Sunday. On Monday, I got my work done. And I even recorded an episode of Toronto Mic'd with Sabrina Douglas. We recorded that at 2 p.m. Shortly after that recording, I had a virtual appointment with my family doctor. I told her all about this pressure headache that came upon me 4 days ago. And she seemed particularly concerned with how quickly it came on, seemingly out of nowhere. She told me she'd feel better if I went straight to St. Joe's Emergency to rule out a brain bleed. Even though I'd likely be there several hours and it's most likely my brain is perfectly fine. I had already decided I was going to do whatever she suggested, so I left the Zoom, I printed the requisition form that she had emailed me, and then I hopped on my bike and I rode to St. Joe's, the hospital in which I was born almost 5 decades ago. It's commonplace these days to read about how our hospital system is a complete mess, but I'm just going to share my experience on Friday evening. I arrived at about 6 p.m. and was speaking with a triage nurse about 10 minutes later. I was speaking with the ER physician by 7 p.m. The ER physician told me that it was most likely a migraine, but he'd satisfy my doctor's request by ordering me a CT scan. I had that scan at about 8 p.m. While I awaited the results, I was given a couple of shots for the headache. One was a steroid, so don't be surprised when you see me next that I'm kind of ripped right now. But whatever they gave me, my headache pain dissipated shortly thereafter, and it really never returned. By 9 p.m., I was in a room with the ER physician, and I was totally ready to hear the results were negative and I was free to ride home. Was I ever shocked when he told me he was completely wrong and that this was extremely rare, 5 in a million? But I had a blood clot on my brain. That's right. He said blood clot on my brain. He called it cerebral venous thrombosis. And he was very upfront with me that he was awaiting a call from the neurologist at St. Mike's because this was his expertise. 5 in a million people get this, and it's typically women. The neurologist looked at my CT scan and wanted me hospitalized for observation. I was admitted immediately. There was concern I'd have a seizure or a stroke. I only wish I had brought my phone charger. I was sent for a second CT scan, this time with dye injected into my veins so they could see if there was bleeding in my brain. Thankfully, they didn't find any bleeding in my brain, so there's some good news. By midnight, I had a cot in the ER, but all I really wanted was something to eat. I was starving. A nurse managed to score me the last turkey salad sandwich, and it was delicious. I then scored pajama bottoms, a toothbrush, and toothpaste, and I got comfy. By 2 a.m., I had a room on the 6th floor, and I packed up my stuff and prepared to walk to the elevator. The nurse told me I needed to wait for a porter. Fancy! When the porter arrived, I got up to walk with him, but I was ordered to get into the wheelchair. Full service! Monday night's sleep was short and interrupted because my roommate was in far worse shape than I was. I felt bad for him. He did not have a good night. I got the sleep I could, and I was awakened bright and early by a nurse taking blood for further tests. I should point out that this happened 4 or 5 times during my stay. They'd frequently take my blood, check my blood pressure, take my temperature, and then check my heart rate. I met with 3 different doctors throughout the day Tuesday. There was the doctor responsible for the floor. She was like the quarterback, and every play would go through her. She actually prepped me for the fact that I could be there a while. Then there was the neurologist. He gave me serious FaceTime and seemed to enjoy talking to me about my specific experience. He seemed generally amazed by how fine I was feeling and how I got this in the first place. 2 of the 3 known causes are female specific: oral contraceptive or pregnancy. I didn't qualify for either. The neurologist spent a great deal of time testing my vision, pointing a flashlight in my eye, and asking me many, many questions. He told me if the hematologist agreed, I could bike home that day and continue treatment from there. Treatment being the popping of these 4 blood thinner pills a day. That's right, blood thinners is how they treat cerebral venous thrombosis. At some point, my brain will just absorb this blood clot. Cool, eh? The hematologist, who was all business, by the way, ordered more blood work to test if I've inherited a propensity for blood clots. She agreed with the neurologist that I could bike home so long as I continued to take my blood thinners for the next 3 months, got an MRI to rule out brain damage, and followed up with her and the neurologist. I was home by 4 p.m. 20 hours at St. Joe's, 2 CT scans, 4 different doctors, a diagnosis, treatment, and a follow-up plan, and a great ride home west on the waterfront trail. As I record this mini episode of Toronto Mic'd on March 8th, 2023, I'm feeling pretty damn good. Shit could be worse.
The lunatic is on the grass. The lunatic is on the grass, remembering games and daisy chains and laughs. Got to keep the loonies on the path. The lunatic is in the hall. The lunatics are in my hall. The paper holds their folded faces to the floor, and every day the paper boy brings more. And if the dam breaks open many years too soon, and if there is no room upon the hill, and if your head explodes without purpose too, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. The lunatic is in my head. The lunatic is in my head. You raise the blade, you make the change, you rearrange me till I'm sane. You lock the door, There's someone in my head, but it's not me.